You're live, Chair.
I'd like to welcome everyone to today's meeting of the Governance and Audit Committee, which is being held fully remotely and in accordance with temporary legislation changes to allow the Council to continue to operate in an open and transparent way. Decisions made at today's meeting are just as applicable as in a traditional meeting setting, provided the number of members in attendance ensures the meeting remains quorate. I'd like to remind members that this meeting is being live streamed to the public. Can I request that you all switch off your cameras and mute your microphones when you are not speaking, and also ensure that you have your chat bar open to indicate your intention to speak and for voting purposes. Now, since we last met, we have heard the sad news that one of our committee members, County Councillor Peter Clark, has passed away. Councillor Clark has been a long-standing member of the Governance and Audit Committee, and his contribution was greatly valued. Peter had high standards and high expectations. He wanted the very best for the people he represented. We will now hold 1 minute silence dedicated to Councillor Clark's memory. Begin now. Thank you very much, everyone. I've received apologies for absence from Councillors Watkins, Jordan and Feakins. If there are any other apologies that need to be recorded, please make this clear in the chat and they will be recorded in the minutes. The next item on the agenda is declarations of interest. Members are invited to indicate expressions of interest in the chat bar. If you do, I will invite the member to explain the nature of the interest. The next item on the agenda is the public open forum. Members of the public wishing to participate in the meeting would have to notify their intention in advance. No such interest has been expressed to date. So we're going to move on to the action list from the previous meeting. According to the printed agenda, there are no items on the action list, but I would just report that there was a question in the last meeting about food procurement, and we have confirmation that food procurement is part of the collaborative work with Cardiff City Council, and that information has been sent to Councillor Murphy, who asked the original question. So there are no other actions arising from the last meeting. So I'll move on. So we're now going to be looking at the audited trust fund accounts for the Welsh Church Fund and Monmouth Farms, and the ISA 260, which is the Audit Wales report on the accounts. I'm going to take these two together. So I'm going to invite David Jarrett, our accountant, to introduce his paper, the Audited Trust Fund Accounts.
Thank you, Chair. Right, the report is to provide the audited annual accounts for the Welsh Church Trust Fund and an independent examination report for the Monmouth Farm School as audited by Audit Wales. The actual audit accounts for the Welsh Church Act Fund are Appendix 1, has been reviewed in conjunction with the Audit Wales ISA 260 Audit of Accounts report. The audited financial statements for the Monmouthshire Farm School Endowment Trust Fund, Appendix 2, is reviewed in conjunction with an independent examiner report for the Monmouthshire Farm School. I'm pleased to say that there has been the auditors have provided an unqualified opinion on the Welsh Church Act Fund accounts for 2021 and a unqualified examiner report for the Monmouthshire Farm School Endowment Trust Fund accounts for 2021. I will be available to answer any questions in regard to the Welsh Church Fund. I understand Mrs. Nicola Wellington would be able to answer any questions in regard to the Monmouthshire Farm School Trust Fund.
Thank you, Mr. Jarrett. I'd just like to invite Mr. Lucy from Audit Wales to explain his contribution.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, you'll see item 6 of the agenda is our closing reports for our work over these two sets of accounts for 2020-2021. So those two reports are our closing ISA 260 reports, our audit of financial statements report for the Welsh Church Act Fund, and an independent examination report for the Monmouthshire Farm School Endowment Trust Fund. The two reports are slightly different. We perform a full audit over the Welsh Church Act Fund. We're requested to perform a full audit over that set of accounts. For the Farm School Endowment Trust Fund, we're only requested to do an independent examination, which is in line with Charity Commission guidelines. That's not a full audit. It's a slightly lighter touch piece of work. And therefore our opinion in our certificate is slightly different. So just to contrast, those two reports, why they are slightly different as you see them there in your agenda pack. But in summary, as Dave summarised there for you, our opinions for both sets of accounts are proposed to be unqualified. So that's clean opinions, which is obviously good news. The reports are much briefer than the versions you might see for the main council, which is understandable. They're much smaller sets of accounts on the whole. Our work is over much more quickly, but ultimately, our work has been completed. There are some amendments that have been raised from our work over both sets of accounts, but those amendments are relatively minor in terms of the number of them and the nature of them. Really, most of them just relate to narrative or disclosure changes within those accounts, which have been tidied up. All those amendments have now been made in the final set of accounts that you see before you today. So from our perspective, these are now the correct versions to be certified. So ultimately, Chair, from our perspective, once members are satisfied with these two sets of accounts, our intention then is for the Auditor General to certify both of them on the 24th of January, which will be after also the trustee meeting for the Farm School Endowment Trust Fund, and that will then allow the council to file these accounts with the Charity Commission before the 31st of January deadline that they have. So really, Chair, that kind of summarises everything that I had to say over these two sets of accounts, and just really thanks to Dave and to Nicola for all their help that they've given our teams to complete this work over the winter this year.
Thank you, Mr. Lucy. Jonathan Davies, who is a finance officer from Monmouthshire, would like to come in. So I'll just give him an opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Jonathan Davies, Acting Assistant Head of Finance at Monmouthshire. Yeah, just wanted to come in really and just offer some thanks across both colleagues here in finance, Dave and Nikki. These might seem like quite small parts of the finance administration, but a lot of work goes into these two areas throughout the year, and it's really pleasing to note that we're hearing of a clean audit again on these two organisations. So I think that's testament to their work and commitment through the year. It's been a difficult year again in terms of disruption to work patterns, and they've really gone above and beyond to get these over the line right at the end. And also thanks to Gareth and his team. Again, I know there were delays in starting the audit, and they've really committed to getting this completed within the timescales that allow us to report in, as Gareth said, to both the Charity Commission and to the Mon Farm Trust Board. So yeah, I think that's it from me, Chair. I think a pleasing outcome, and that's all I wanted to say today. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Davies. I'll just remind the committee of the recommendations that are at agenda item 5, that the audited accounts for the Welsh Church Act Fund 2021 is reviewed in conjunction with the Audit Wales ISO 260 Audit of Accounts report for the Welsh Church Act Fund, and that the audited financial statements for the Monmouthshire Farm School Endowment Trust Fund for 2021 is reviewed in conjunction with the independent examination report for the Monmouthshire Farm School Endowment Trust Fund. So I'd now like to invite any questions or contributions from the committee.
If there are no contributions, Mr. Chairman, Councillor Murphy is on the screen.
Yes, Councillor Murphy, do you wish to
only
a
comment, Chair, and I echo those thanks that John has just given. On the farm school, I got nothing to add to that. I think it's just worth pointing out the fairly large swings in the balance sheet on the Welsh Church Act Fund. If you look at net current assets, they've gone from 85,000 down to 8,009. I can see why. We've had quite a lot of swings. Obviously, the investments have recovered substantially, but although it's all explained in the notes, I just thought it was worth pointing out that there has been a substantial swing in the net current assets, and I don't know whether Dave or somebody wants to comment on that.
I invite someone to come in on that.
Yeah, I can come in on that. Yeah, Councillor Murphy, we've had a lot of grants that were pulled forward from previous years for Caerphilly, and and that's used up a lot of the cash last year. So the cash balance has reduced from last year. So that is why the net assets have reduced by that. There's only that 8,000 rather than 85 as per the previous year. It's just cash is being used up, paying past grants are being carried forward that Caerphilly hadn't actually utilised in the past.
Yeah, as I say, it's evident if you go through the notes. There's obviously nothing wrong with the liquidity, so I'm quite happy. It was just worth pointing that out. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Just want to check if anyone else wants to raise a question or make a comment. Since I don't seem to be getting anything else, I suggest that we generally agree that we have adopted the recommendations that were made to the committee.
Yeah, I second that.
As long as there are no objections to that.
No.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for that. Now then, the agenda items number 7, the anti-bribery risk assessment and the governance and audit committee review. They have been held over, are not available today, just due to pressure of other business on the council. So we'll move on then to the forward plan. And the obvious thing to consider with the forward plan is that items 7 and 8 will need to be rescheduled into that plan. Do we have anything else in reference to the forward work plan for the committee? Okay, so that's fine. And what we need to do now is confirm the minutes of the previous meeting, which was held on the 25th of November 2021.
Happy to confirm, Chair.
And second, Chairman.
Okay, we've got a proposal and a second. If there are no objections, then we'll confirm the minutes of the previous meeting as we have them.
Chair, can I just can I just mention just a small amendment for
Yes, Wendy.
whatever reason you're in the list of those present, you've come up as a county councillor. I have changed that on the published edition of the minutes just now because it was raised with me, so that has been altered.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Wendy. That's the committee clerk today. So the date of the next meeting is going to be the 17th of February at 2 o'clock. So thank you very much, everybody, and I'll call this meeting to an end.
Thank you, Chair. See you on
Thank you,
Monday.
yeah, thank you, Chairman.
Very compact.